Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you about how blockchains works, what is blockchain, and history of the blockchain, and what is decentralized network, and all about that. Be with me till the end of this video, and let's start and see what content we discuss in that. So, in that this is the introductory video. In that video we will discuss blockchain, decentralized, what is a blockchain, what makes blockchain unique, what are the advantages of blockchain, example of blockchain use, what is the mining, how are blockchain structured, what is decentralized, who governs a blockchain, advantage of decentralized, disadvantage of decentralized, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So let's start it. First we will before we start, first we see the history of Bitcoin, then after we will start our discussion about blockchain. Firstly, see the history of Bitcoin. So, in that, Bitcoin was first described in 2008 with the publication of paper title Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So, what that mean to the peer-to-peer? That mean there is a no middleman involvement. If you want to send a transaction to a person, so you do not have to raise a request to send the transaction. You can directly send the transaction from your side to the recipient side. They will receive your payment easily, not time taking process. It will take only some minutes or some hour for doing transaction. Instead, if we using a bank system, like we if we want to send a transaction, so we firstly raise sending request to our bank, and then bank will verify that this transaction is from my side, and after that, by deducting some tax of transaction, that they will send my transaction to the recipient. But this is the very time taking process. It will take some hours, some days for transaction. It's controlled by the government, and if you want to do some big transaction, so you have to pay some much more amount of tax. If there is very difficult, there's very tax paying for. And in that, there is a, if you want to, there is some in that, in our current system, like not we are not talking about Bitcoin, like the currency can be counterfeited. Like anyone can who have the replicas of the plates of our counterfeit currency notes, so they can replicate our currency easily. And that is the very bad thing, because then someone who can replicate the currency, that will impact the price of our currency. And that's not a very good thing, because we have a limited supply of everything, like reserves of golds in the exchange of currency and all. So let's see that the in that we have a called proof of work algorithm. That's if you send that a transaction to every anyone, then you have a proof of work, and then you send the transaction to that person. That's a Bitcoin network. In that we see to conduct a global lottery every 10 minutes on average, allowing the decentralized network to arrive at consensus about the state of transaction. Decentralized, that means that there is a no control of the single entity or group of people. Instead of the group of people, the Bitcoin is owned by the smaller group of people who run their on managing their nodes in their computer and their PCs and their GPUs for maintaining and running the network and all. So in that, does solve the issue of double spend, where a single currency unit can be spent twice. Previously, the double spend problem was a weakness of digital currency and was addressed by the clearing all transactions through a centralized clearing house. The Bitcoin network started in 2009 on the reference of implementation published by the Nakamoto, since revised by the many other programmers. The number of and power of machine learning, the proof of work algorithm mining that provides security and resilience of Bitcoin have increased exponentially the compound computation power. Okay, so let's see the solution to this distributed computing problem. Satoshi Nakamoto mentioned also practical and novel solution to the problem is distributed computing, known as the Byzantine general problem briefly and all. You can skip this video and read this. So we have type of wallet, like many of those types. So let's first we will discuss some this. If you want to learn it, so you can simply uh, pause this video and you can read this. Like Bitcoin is a protocol that can be accessed using an application that speak the protocol. A Bitcoin is the most common user interface to the Bitcoin system, just the like a web browser and all. And there is a desktop. We have multiple types of node. In that we will discuss web wallet, hardware signing devices, full node was versus lightweight. Another way to categorize Bitcoin wallet is their the degree of autonomy and how they interact with the Bitcoin wallet, full node, light client, third party API client, and all. And quick start, like who controls the key, a very important additional consideration. Who controls the key? As we will see in a sequent chapter, access to Bitcoin is a controlled by private key, which are like very long pin. If you are the only one to have control over the privates, these private key, you are in the control of your Bitcoin. Conversely, if you do not have control, then your Bitcoin are managed by the third party who ultimately control your funds, you behave behalf. Key management software fails into two important category based on our wallet where control and all. You can read it if you want. So let's discuss about our topic. What is our topic? So let's discuss is first what is a blockchain. So what is a blockchain? Blockchain is digital ledger growing list if records that keep the track of transaction. In that, if you do a transaction, so the all transaction will connect to the each other like blockchain. That mean that you can do a transaction, and the transaction hashes with hashes in contain in a block. The block will contain the all hashes of the transaction you are doing. Like first we heard lots of time like a block mining. What a block mining, reward system halving. What is halving? When the supply will halve the reward system. In that, if you mine the Bitcoin, then you will get the reward system half every 4 years. In Bitcoin we will discuss, like we know in the Bitcoin. So what is a blockchain? Blockchain is like a linked list. In that we have a node is called a block, and that node contain the address of the hash of the previous node. We do not have the previous node of the head node and the tail node. In that node, we will draw it, try to draw. Like this is the node 1, and this node is called basically block, like a linked list. We all are the student who know that this the block 2 and the block 3. That's the end of the blockchain. When the supply is goes to the end, and this is head. Okay, that's the head. That is called tail. So in that we know that this block will contain the address of the next block, and this node also contain the address of the previous node, and this will form a chain. In that chain we do not have the previous node of the head and the uh, end node of the tail. So let's see that how it works. First we did it. How can you erase it? Okay, okay, cut. Hmm. Razor. Okay, okay. So we'll see this. We see this. So this is our block, and all block are connected. So that mean that formed a chain that's called a blockchain. In that, if you want to insert a block, so you have to add at the end. Insertion is happening in the end. If you want to insert a block in the in between two blocks, then our transaction will be denied by the block system, like that. Okay, block system. Like we can see that uh, first we take a pen. Like this is the block one, this is block one, this is a block two, and this is a block three. This is the another block who someone created and try to insert there in that chain, blockchain, like a linked list. If someone try to insert this block in between the two blocks, then our system will deny it and say that this transaction is illegal, because that of the our node will our block contain the previous address of hash of previous node, previous block, and the hash of the other upcoming node. They have the address. So if you trying to replicate or and want to insert a new node at the at that place, so our system will deny this transaction, and this is not the good practice. This is a illegal transaction. And also that, okay, so now if you have enter a block, you want to enter a new block, so you have to enter this at the end of the block. But the exception is that you can only add that block the hash is contained by the previous block. They all hash, they all blocks contain the previous hashes. We know that we have a limited supply. We have 21 million supply of Bitcoin. We have 21 million supply of Bitcoin. And also, we have a 21 million supply in that, uh, in uh, 2020 till in 2000, in that 2025 all the blocks are mined 99%. That mean in 2035 all the blocks are mined 99%. Each block having the list of the transaction they have. So first we have to, there's a block. Oh, we have a block 1, block 2, and block 3. Block 1, block 2, block 3, and block 4. Each block, the block system, and this is a block system. So each block, when a block is said mine, then the all the transaction will compile into that block, and after that the this is then say that the block is mine. So let's see the previous one. So we will see the blockchain. What is a blockchain? The collection of the nodes which contain the hashes of the previous values. We can say in that we say the node, instead of node we say the block. Okay, what are the blockchain? So what are the advantages of blockchain? So we simply say that in that blockchain system, no one can insert the any replica, any other information in that block, because of that the block contain the hashes of the next and previous node in that. So if someone wants to try that, that will our system will deny it, because it's- and deny that. So first we delete it, delete that here. Okay, so there's a blockchain, block system. So in that, what is a mining? What is decentralized? So in that, what decentralized Decentralization. So we first see the definition, and then we will discuss it. What is decentralized? A system that is governed by lots of smaller parties rather than one single entity, and all regarding block, that mean thickness and all. So simply, what is a decentralization? Decentralization means that the a system that is governed by lots of smaller parties rather than a single entity. Like there's a open chain, like anyone can see the transaction in that, but no one can control it. If no one in that system, no one if can control that system, there's the open source system, everyone can access it and use it and mine it. Like what is the mining? First we will see the mining, and then we see that and see the advantages. The mining is that if you compile the transaction in the blockchains by using the node system, is the node is that node help the transaction to compiled into the block, and the after that a block is mined, then the reward will generated, and then reward will be distributed, that all the person who are doing mining and help bitcoin network managing. Basically, what is a mining? Mining is the process uh, in that mining is the process in that miner is running the node in their system in the GPU. Using the GPU, we have multiple type of GPUs. By using the computing the complex problem and compiling the all transaction into the block, and after that new block will be created. After that new block will be created, and then enter at the end of the list, and this process is called mining of new block. And when a block is successfully mined, then the reward will be transferred to the all miner equally, and also you will get the gas fee which someone do transaction. So transaction using the gas fee, and that bitcoin following the SHA-256 system. So that is, in the next video we will discussing about the smart contract. How can you deploy and run your application in the blockchains in ethereum network, in bitcoin network? That's very costly, but if you want to do that you can. So what is a layer 1? Layer 1 is that is the parent, you can say parent coin, in that they have their own chain. And layer 2 is that layer 2 is the dried version of layer 1, through that the drive version that is connected with the layer 1 of blockchain, and layer 2 is connected with the layer 3. Like in the layer 3 we have a web 3. Later videos we will discussing about the web 3 system, example of the blockchain uses. So basically the most important example of blockchain is that there's a data security, no one can replicate it, and there's high security. What is the disadvantage? So first we see the disadvantage of decentralized. So in that decentralized, they're difficult to keep sensitive information hidden without cryptography. So in that we have to do cryptography to hide that, because I say that now there's an open network, everyone can access it but not control it. And fact that is the network is open, and it almost impossible to modify the network. And in that if you want to modify that network, that is impossible in that chain. So that's very difficult thing. Like you can see the transaction but you cannot track the transaction. You can see the hashes, through that you can see that the who owned the previously, but you cannot know that the person, but you can see that transaction in the blockchain. You can simply go to the blockchain scan, then you can see the transactions and all. And then after we will discussing how blockchains are structured, our last topic. In the next video we will discussing that how blockchains how you can create your own own cryptocurrency by using and how you can do 1 minute. So basically our block, so our blockchain, all blocks have the following components. Like, see what is the component is that. First is timestamp, second is magic number, third is block size, transaction count, block header, list of transaction. So this is the terms we have. Let's discuss it. So we know that the all block have the six major, have six components in that, like block size, magic number, timestamp. In timestamp we have the time list, transaction count. All block have the transaction count, that how much transaction can stored a single block. But the block header will store the addresses of the previous and the next node, you can say next block. In that list of transaction, a list of transaction, that means how many transaction is the list of the transaction which is stored in the block. In that a block have the limited size, and when we say the block is mined, then the block is complete the block size, there is a no node left to mine. And then after us block is successfully mined, then we will then the block is moved to the next block. And I think that's the enough one. Let's discuss something. What's the problem? There's a know how to miner solve the problem. So first we see the how do problem solved by the miner. So how does the mining achieve? We will discuss it. Block is mined once the problem is solved. First the problem is solved, then after, like, in that we do the complex mathematical equations, then it will help it. What is the problem? A miner are trying to find a hashes of a block header and produce a number lower than a target. Every block have the target, and then the target will achieve, then after that move with the next block. Target number is a common across all the blocks currently being mined and becomes more difficult if more blocks are being mined and less difficult higher if fewer blocks are being mined. Thus target number is always very low with a lot guess in front, so the probability is hash being complex. Yeah, that is the problem. And that I think that is enough for today. And after that, in the next video we will see that how can we create a smart contract. Let's if you want to continue, then continue from here, because in that we will discuss some general talk, some general let's see that. Well, so in that video we will see the block, we see the block security. That's a very good practices. Like, why we have why we choose the bitcoin, that's the question. If you have an answer, then comment. So as according to me, if there is a no control by the government, so you can do the transaction freely. There is a no control, but everyone can see the transaction happen. Think that now. So how much cool is that? How much cool sound is that? Like someone do a transaction without knowing the person, but they can see the transaction in the blockchain, but they cannot track the transaction. if you if you have to send money to the one pair to the another person, so you do not have to use any middleman. That's very good thing. Like, uh, I know that in the future we have lots of opportunity for that. Like, ethereum are doing very good, and bitcoin is doing very great. And as we know that the supra, as we know that the ohm network, as we know gala chain, and all the projects are doing very well. So if you, I suggest you some coin if you want to buy. then you will definitely get the 100% return in next year, next 1 to 2 year. So if you want to buy some crypto coin, then you will prefer, if you if you want to buy crypto, so you